Anyways, if you can't hear me, please let me know. I'll not be offended. My name is Florence Namaganda. I am from Uganda, so that should be easy to remember. Namaganda from Uganda. Yes. And yeah, I am, by training, I'm a neuropediatric therapist, which is basically fancy for playing with children who have problems with their brain physically or intellectually. So what I do is play with them in a way that is purposeful to help them achieve their full potential, whatever God will have them be. So my journey in the work that I do now started about 17 years ago as a student of physiotherapy. And I just want, as I share this story, I just want to let you know that the story of what God does with us as ordinary people, and how he chooses to magnify himself in situations that sometimes are very dark. And I loved it when the lady over there said something about the mission field. When I was coming out here, the first message I got was from, whenever I go to speak somewhere, I ask God for, what do you want me to talk to your people about? Because it's not just about sharing the work, but it's just sharing the faith together. And the first message was in Matthew 10 about how God called his people, how God commissioned, and all of us are commissioned by God to different mission fields. And the mission field looks different for everybody. And sometimes when you sit there and hear about people working in Uganda, Kazakhstan, all over the place, you just feel like, Lord, where is my mission field? But your mission field is where you are at a given time. Sometimes, and it changes from season to season, sometimes it could be that your mission field is to raise your children. Your mission field could be to just take care of yourself. And I just want to let you know that whatever your mission field is right now, it's where you're supposed to be, and God is faithful. He will equip you for it, he will provide for it, and he never fails, right? So yeah, so as I go into my own journey and my own mission field, when I was 19, I joined School of Physiotherapy, and there I saw a different kind of child. I saw children that I had never seen on the streets of Kampala, where I grew up, anywhere, not even at my church. And these were children with both physical and intellectual disabilities that had come to the neurodevelopment clinic in the hospital. And my question was, when I saw them the first time, I thought there were hundreds. And sometimes I even thought many more than hundreds, because it was a shock to see that kind of child. And I kept looking, thinking, should I look? Should I go near? Is this a disease that I can catch? And then I went to the department and asked, who are those and what's wrong with them? And I was told they have different medical conditions, and this is why they are like that. And I asked, why are their parents here so early? Because it was 7 a.m., and I knew that the therapy clinic only opens at 10 a.m. And they were like, they only come very early because they don't want anybody to know that they have this kind of child. So they sneak out of their houses at 6 a.m. or before that to be in the hospital by 7 in daylight, and then leave. Even after the clinic has closed, they stay until later on. Okay. And this, I kept asking. Then I went to the parents and asked, what is wrong with your child? And the answers were, I was bewitched, I was cursed, I'm being punished for something I did. And going back to the medical department, I would ask, what is wrong with these children? And they would say, cerebral palsy, hydrocephalus, all these other conditions, medical conditions. Then I realized there was a divide between what the medical people believed were conditions and what the parents thought their children had. And because the parents thought that their children had, there was a lot of darkness surrounding what they thought their children had, they kept them in hiding. They were not proud of them. And from then on, I started telling God, you need to do something about this. Because God, you say in your word, we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. You say in your word, every child is a gift from you. So if these children are gifts, then people need to realize that they are a gift. And that is when my journey started. So I will like us to watch the first video, and then we will continue after that. Thank you very much. My name is Florence Namaganda. I am a neuropediatric therapist by profession, and I am the founder and director of the Special Children's Trust. The Special Children's Trust is an umbrella organization for a number of entities, including Mukisa Foundation, Dawn Children's Center, the Mukisa Inclusive Village, Baraka Medical Center, and the Special Children's Forum. So Mukisa Foundation started out of a need to support families who have children with disabilities. I found that most of these families were isolated and didn't have access to any services, and as a result, children were dying. Children with disabilities were dying even before their 5th birthday. So my desire was to create a place where these parents could find all these services, but also find support to support their children, in order to look after their children.
We work with children with disability. We have different types of disability we work with. There are those that are physical and those that are mental. Among the physical disability we work on, we have cerebral palsy, hydrocephalus, those with mental, like autism, Down syndrome. So basically those are the cases we work with at Mukisa.
So in 2006, I started with a home visit program. I would go and visit children in their homes and make sure that they got therapy, but also talk to the parents and help them get the psychosocial support that they needed. And then 5 months later, I got a grant of €1,000, which helped me rent a building. And the building is the same one that we are in now in Lunguja. And this building became like a drop-in center for moms.
Children with disabilities need love. Parents need hope. With the Mukisa providing for their social needs, their welfare needs, their finances sometimes, it really makes it a very great experience for me to see myself being part of that.
Now I'm with this child. She's a child of cerebral palsy. Cannot sit at the moment. Cannot crawl, and of course is not yet standing or walking. So what I'm doing, I'm working on the lower limbs. I'm doing some passive stretches to improve her joint range of movement. She used to be crying during this because they have been consistent coming for therapy. No longer cries so much during these exercises. So for the lower limbs, we need some weight-bearing exercises, like this is in squatting. This is a bit painful, but we need it to strengthen the trunk and improve the head neck control. We also do for her the half kneeling involving the upper limbs. Yeah, this is a bit stressing, but she needs it to strengthen the trunk, strengthen the limbs, and also have good neck control. Yeah, Shifa is really changing. She's also nutritional support, and she's picking up well.
Uganda as a country, there are some places or districts where you find that they are not even getting the service we give here. They rely on the referral hospitals, but when they go to the referral hospitals, sometimes they don't get the people who work on the children, like the therapists, the social workers for the psychosocial support.
We do therapy, we do psychosocial support, we train the parents in different skills and just help them basically find appropriate ways of dealing with the situation of having a child with special needs. You see, the background is that in Uganda, most people believe that disability happens because you have been bewitched, or it's punishment for sin, or you must have done something wrong. And as a result, most of these parents are isolated and are feeling ashamed of their children. So getting them to Mukisa was a way of helping them meet other parents and then draw strength from that and find solutions together.
Living alone, the children having a disability, you find that this family is struggling with the knowledge, with the finances, because since the child needs a lot of time, your employer is not going to give you time to look after your child. So they end up being jobless. So with that, as we give a holistic service in Mukisa, I wish we can extend these services to different parts of Uganda who really need this service.
So we started with the 8 that I had picked up for the home visit program, and by the end of the first month we had 20, by the end of the first year we had over 100 children, and now we are supporting over 5,000 children at Mukisa, the center, but we also have outreach programs in around 9 districts. And what we do basically is medical care, therapy, education services, psychosocial support. We train parents in small income generating activities so that they can be able to support their families. And then we do a lot of advocacy and awareness programs.
I've heard that today was the first day of proper sunshine here. And yes, it's all coming from Uganda, so please receive it. But from what I've seen of this country, it may not last long, so enjoy it. Yeah. Okay. So as I explained before, or maybe I didn't say this, when I started out, when I started telling God that we needed to do something about this, I even came up with my own plan of how this was going to happen. So I told God, you know what? You need to take me abroad because there's no money here. You need to take me abroad to make a lot of money. And then I can come back here and set up a center for you, for these children. And there I will glorify your name. And so we continued praying, and this was my big prayer point from my final year of university up to then I got a job and started working, but I was just thinking, God, you need to take me. So anyway, God in his faithfulness gave me this opportunity to go abroad. And he brought me to England. And when I got a letter my pastor got a letter from an organization here called Care Force, and they were looking for young Christian volunteers to come out and serve in different positions. And when he asked, I was like, of course, this is the answer to prayer that I've been looking for. So I didn't read the fine print. I was going to England, I was going to make a lot of money, and I would go back to Uganda. So I came out in December 2004, and then when I got here, they explained to me what I didn't read. I was here as a volunteer. I would be taken care of, and I'll be given £30 a week. So then I said, okay, well, this is still good, £30. Maybe by the time I finish, if I'm not paying any bills, this is money that I can take home. Well, by the end of the first month, I realized that wasn't very much, even for bus fare and many other things. So I didn't make any money. And when I finished my voluntary year, I was ready to go home with no money. I think I was poorer than I came, actually, because I remember not being able to even take most of the things that I collected during that time. But looking back, God did not bring me here to make money because he knew where money could come from. He brought me here because I was telling him I wanted to serve him with children who have special needs with a mindset that was rooted in what I was seeing in Uganda. So he wanted me to see what a child with special needs living a life of dignity looks like. So when I came out, for the very first time, I saw children in proper wheelchairs, going to the park, going to the cinema, having lots of games, having play places, getting therapy, their families being visited with support from the health visitor, from the community workers, from all this. And it was shocking that that is even possible. But this is what I saw. And when I saw it, I got this conviction to write down everything. So every time I saw a child in a nice wheelchair, I'd write, it's possible for a child to actually have a wheelchair made for them. Then when I saw them in the park, I'd be like, yeah, families can go out with their children with special needs. They don't need to be kept at home. So in the center where I worked in Croydon, we had a drop-in center where young asylum seeker moms would come and would take care of their children, and they would have cups of tea and talk to one another. So this idea, I wrote down drop-in center. How wonderful it would be for a mom with a child with a disability to sit with another mom and just share ideas and not just talk about their problems, but also talk about what they're doing with their children and learn from one another. So again, I wrote down drop-in center. Someone talked about health visitors and community workers and how they go home. So when I went home, because I didn't have any funding, I started a home-based care program with 8 children. As a physiotherapist, I could go and visit these moms and just talk to them, do therapy with them, and teach them what to do with their children. And these ideas would never have happened if I didn't come here, because I had never seen this kind of life. So yes, sometimes we believe we know where we're going. We believe we know how God is working things out. And many times we get disappointed because we don't know what He's actually doing. Right now, I'm so grateful for those years. And when I look back at how scared I was when I realized I wasn't going to make any money, and to the point where I am right now, I just marvel at God's faithfulness and wisdom. And I would like to encourage all of us that wherever you're at, if the things don't look clear, that's where you're supposed to be. God loves it. All He wants of us is to trust Him, even in those times when nothing is clear at all. Anyways, I went back, started with the 8 children that I got that I used to do the home-based care program. About 6 months later, I got my first grant of €1,000 that was able to rent us a center to start our first drop-in center. So the drop-in center started with my 8 children, and by the end of the first month, we had 20. By the end of the first year, we had over 100 coming to the drop-in. And just like I had learned in Croydon, make cups of tea in the corner, do therapy in the other corner, get the moms to talk to one another. That's exactly what we did. And we did that, and we saw it grow. We saw people who were feeling sorry for themselves, people who were scared, people who were feeling abandoned, get hope and get to know the love of God in a different way. And that continued. The word went around, and we kept growing. Before we knew it, we had people coming from far places, and one of them is 100 kilometers away called Luwero. So we opened our first outreach clinic in 100 kilometers away. Then eventually we went on an island where people believed that every child with disability had a spirit of the lake. And as a result, they were neglected, tethered on trees, and not taken care of because they believed you do not tamper with the spirit of Lake Victoria. It's supposed to be very strong. So because of that, children were being abused and neglected. So we went and created an outreach on this island. And then eventually we set up, you saw what we have at Dawn Children's Center, which is an inclusive school. So right now we have 4 different locations and 3 outreach clinics across the country. We are serving over 5,000 children, and our hope is that we can reach the entire country, not just with the services, but with the love of God and the message that every child is a gift from God and is fearfully and wonderfully made. So, do you have any questions for me? Anybody with a question? Yes, please.
Still a huge stigma if you go out with a child with them?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's not as bad as before, because now, as you saw the last video, you saw the awareness day. Right now, we bring our children purposefully on the streets and then take them for a fun day where people can see them. So it's a bit better, but still people will stare, you know. And what I tell the parents now is it is okay. Maybe they want to know. Maybe they've never seen a child like yours. So when they stare at you, turn around and explain to them. Tell them what your child's condition is, instead of feeling like, you know, most of the time the parents feel like, oh, they're staring at me and they're judging me and all these other things. So instead, our new thing is when they stare, you turn around and smile and talk to them about your child. And in Uganda, we we talk to one another everywhere. So this is a chance to tell them about cerebral palsy, because after you've spoken to them, they may meet another child. They themselves may have a child like that. So yeah, stigma is still there. There is a lot of stirring, but we have an intervention for that now with our moms and dads. Yeah.
Are you starting to see support from churches in Uganda or from organizations?
Yes, we do have partners locally as well. I go to a church called Watoto, and from the beginning when we started out, it was not possible to even talk about our work because the church also has its own mission. But now we are seeing more reception, and because actually the way God worked it out for my own church to actually accept this work was we have an orphanage as a church, and they realized there were children with special needs in the orphanage. So we provided a free service. We've been providing a free service for so many years that now everybody is more receptive about this work and realizing that it's actually, there are so many children with special needs that need help. So yeah, so my church, and there are other churches, and we also do ministry in churches. We go and speak in churches, at conferences, church conferences, at pastors' conferences, and places like that. Because in Uganda, one of the sources of stigma is church, actually. Because normally when a child has a disability, a parent will go to church so that they can be healed. So they'll go to be prayed for. And when the child doesn't get well, there'll be things that will be said like, you don't have enough faith. Or if you fasted 40 days, if you are better, if you gave more, then your child would get fine. And those things usually put parents down and cause them to feel even more rejection from God. So we also go for pastors' conferences, speak at different places to make sure that churches also understand that, yeah, only God heals, and He chooses the way He heals. It's not up to us to decide how and when He's going to heal someone. Yeah.
Does your organization rely on paid staff, or you manage to get volunteers?
Both. We have paid staff. We have 83 staff members that are paid. So those include teachers, therapists, and social workers, community health workers, that kind of. But we also get volunteers, and we also get people that are paid on a stipend basis, like our village health teams. We just pay them for the day they go out to screen children in the community. So we have different levels, but we also get volunteers from all over the world that come and do different things, or students on placements from different universities also come to us. Yeah.
Do other religions like Muslims join your project? Do you have children from Muslim communities or only Christians?
Yeah, well, so we are a Christian organization, but we are we don't choose what religion comes to us. Everybody can come, and we have a big Muslim community in Uganda, but when they come, they know that we will pray together. They accept that, and so we pray with them, we tell them about God, because the one thing that we have in Uganda is freedom to share the gospel, or freedom to share any religion, actually. So when they come, we will pray with them. Our center has activities like music therapy, which is Christian songs, and then when it's prayer time, we'll all pray together. And if many times Muslim moms have come to us and said, I want special counseling, and we'll say, but this is based on the Bible. And they would say, fine. So So we do have Muslims from Uganda, but now we have lots of Muslims from Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia as well. Yeah.
Are you localized, or are you spread across Uganda?
We are spread out. As I said, we have 7 locations now that we're working, and our dream is to spread out even more, because we are serving about 5,000 children, and there are over 3 million children with disabilities in Uganda, many of them without a single intervention. So we are hoping that we can spread out even more to reach as many more children as possible.
Experience much opposition when
you tried to set up these centres, and if so, what sort of opposition?
Yeah.
How did you overcome it?
So the first one was from my own family, because I'm the first of 13 children. So in Africa or in Uganda, when you are raised and you're the firstborn, the goal is you're going to go and get a job, look after your siblings, look after your family. Now I go to England and everybody is very excited. She's gone, she's going to come back. She will never come back. She's going to stay there, make a lot of money, send her stuff and look after the family. And then 1.5 years later, I go back with nothing, with a dream of I'm going to set up an organization. So I can tell you I wasn't a very, yes, I wasn't one of the favorites of the family for some time. And there were meetings about me, without me in them, saying what's wrong with her, has she broken down, what is the problem, disability, why that, where did she see that, why is she coming out with crazy ideas? But she's always been crazy, you know. So it took about 5 years to convince. When we had our 5th anniversary, that's when my mother came. She agreed to come, because every time I said, you should come and see what we're doing, like, no. So she came for the 5th anniversary and saw children and saw moms. And by then we had about 1,000 children. And I think that changed everything. And actually, as a result of this ministry, my mom became a Christian. So yeah, opposition, the first one, which was, I don't even know why I didn't expect it, but it was from family. And then other people also thought it was strange, but also there is a lot of ingrained fear about disability in Uganda, because people believe it's caused by spirits, it's caused by curses, it's caused by, you know, all these things. And they believe that if you try to help them, then the spirits are going to attack you. Yeah, so there was also that fear of people accepting to work with me. So getting a therapist, at the beginning I was the only therapist, and getting other people to join me was really hard to convince them that you're not going to be under special attack. And then people also had this myth of, if you work with children with disabilities, then all your children will have a disability. So the women who came to work with me, their husbands told them to leave if they wanted to have children. So we've had a lot. It has been so many different opposition things coming to us. But as I said in the beginning, when God calls you, he equips you. And the funny thing, the one thing I've learned about God is that his grace is sufficient for that moment, you know? So at that time when we were facing that, he gave us enough grace to go through that and gave us people to rally around us, gave me good friends. When family, I remember I couldn't stay at home and I didn't have money to rent a place. And a friend opened up her house to me for 2 years, you know? So there has always been people or something that comes up to help you through the opposition time, yeah, or whatever situation that comes up, yeah. Yes, any other question?
It sounds like all your children are actually with their birth families, is that right? So you don't have any sort of centres or orphanages, they're all with their families?
Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you have a sponsorship scheme, though, that helps the families at all, or any of the children sponsored?
Yes, we have some children that are sponsored. And one, what I didn't say at the beginning, we have 5 programs. So one program is health. So anything to do with the health of the child and education. We try to get children to special schools and inclusive schools. And another one is family empowerment. And the family empowerment program cares for helping the family socially to understand disability, to get to accept their child. And this empowerment, social empowerment program takes care of siblings, because sometimes siblings don't understand what's going on. Everything that is being said about their sibling, they hear it and they understand and they don't know how to deal with it. So we take care of siblings, we take care of fathers, moms, grandparents, anyone who is in the care, in the immediate circle of the children, including the neighbors actually. And then we do economic empowerment programs where families who have no source of income come to us for trainings, different trades that they can do, and we train them in that to do different things. Many of them do art and design, hairdressing, crafts, different things to help them with a source of income. But then there are times even with those sources of income, like after COVID, we had so many families get homeless. So we then set up another special income, another sponsorship program where we're actually paying rent and getting parents into work to make sure that they could, be sustained that way and eventually get a job and take on. And I'm happy to say actually all the 10 parents that we had during after COVID that were homeless, when we gave them rent for 6 months and I've been working with them to get at least a source of income, many of them have moved on from full sponsorship to half. And some of them are even quota, and I think we have 2 that are actually now able to pay their own rent. So we do different programs depending on a child's situation, and we get social workers to go to the home and talk to the family and create a family vision together, and then work on that with them and journey with them on that and see how we fulfill it.
What kind of spiritual care you provide for them?
A special care?
What kind of spiritual care you provide for them?
Spiritual care.
Like
prayer.
These people who come to your center, what kind of spiritual care they will have?
Okay. Yeah, so spiritual care in terms of prayer and that kind of support? Yes, so as I said, we pray with our children. We sing Christian songs. Even our education system is based on biblical principles. And so everything around us is Christian. So we tailor everything to lead them to accept, to get a personal relationship with God. And even our children with very severe disabilities, we will read them Christian stories, we will speak to them, we will sing with them, because sometimes the child has very severe or complex needs, but somehow we know that deep down there is a connection with God, so they will learn whatever they will learn. So even the ones that are very severe, we encourage the parents. We have Christian literature that we give out to parents to continue reading for their children at home. But also, when a parent has real challenges and needs counseling, we make sure that they talk to a Christian counselor. And then the other care, the one that actually works more than anything that we found, is the parent support groups. So our parent support groups are headed by Christians, Christian parents who have been through our programs. We call them our parent champions. And these ones actually speak into the situation, but also speak to them about their own journey and how God has helped them through the different levels. Yeah. No.
Local authorities allow you to advertise or to report this type of event in the local, for example, local TV?
Yes. Actually, the Awareness Day event is one of those events where we don't pay for media. The reason why we don't pay for media is we create a lot of traffic jam on the streets of Kampala. We have hundreds, actually thousands of children. The last one we had over 1,500 children together. So when they come together, and Kampala is in such a way that if you block one road, the entire city is blocked. Every road feeds into the other. So you know that when you're in one high street, everything is shut down. So for those 2 hours, everyone is asking, what's going on, what's happening? Oh, there are those people marching again on Kampala Road. And then media will come, do free publicity for us, and we'll be on every TV and every radio station. So, any other question?
Do you need any money?
Pardon?
Do you need any money?
Oh, yes, please. Definitely, we do need money. We do need people. We do need prayer. We do need items in kind, like wheelchairs, equipment. We do need toys. I was telling Dave the other day that before I came out, I sent over 75 kilos of toys because we go through them quite quickly and we always need more. So all sorts of things, we need them.
A question online. Do the children receive vocational training? How are children prepared for adult life?
Good. How much time do we have? 12:15. Okay. How long is that video, the second one I told you? Oh, we could do actually the first 4 minutes and then I can tell you to stop. Yeah? Okay. This will answer vocational skills. That's why I wanted him to play it.
My name is Julie Muleke. I'm the project coordinator for Mukisa Inclusive Village. We work with children with special needs, and currently we have a project that is running that is partnered with Rotary Club of Lubo and Teshte under the theme of empowering families of children with disabilities. It is in 2 categories. We selected 30 beneficiaries from 0 years to 12. Those ones are household beneficiaries. We gave them animals, different enterprises. Some got pigs, goats, chickens, according to their area of enterprise. And then from 13 and above, they are doing vocational skilling.
We were offering vocational skilling to young adults with disabilities. But what we found is after skilling them, they had no place of employment. Nobody wanted to take them on. So we decided to create a place. So we're blessed with 10 acres of land. And we thought maybe here we could model, because everything that we have done, we have been the first ones to do it. And we have seen how that has changed society and community. So we decided to also model job creation for persons with disability. So that's why we have the Mukisa Inclusive Village.
Mostly with the children we have now who are doing tailoring. We have a boy called Jovan. He has a condition of CP, cerebral palsy. His mobility is not good, but then he surprised us when he can now do the sewing. He can use the machine himself with his mobility. It was really a success story. This is a disinfectant trough. Everyone entering the farm has to disinfect because our animals are really sensitive to diseases. They can easily get sick.
So vocational skilling, we do vocational skilling at all different levels. Right now we have tailoring, we have baking and catering, and we have hairdressing, we have art and design, and we also have children that just come to us and we realize that they could be better off going to mainstream school, so we do accelerated learning with them and then send them on back to mainstream school. I think when Dev and Chris were in Uganda, it was one of our biggest days. We had 2 children graduate, one from university and one from primary school. And so we do things like that. We take them through whatever levels and whatever their abilities are. We meet them at that level and then try to take them on to a higher level. And when our children finish their skilling, they're given a starter pack. And in this pack, so for example, that's why she was saying families are given goats and cows. So if a child comes and does farming practices as a course, before they leave, they decide which animal they want to take care of. So if it's goats, we'll give them some children prefer 2 she-goats or he and a she-goat, things like that. And then piglets, they'll take them home. If it's a cow, they'll take a cow home. And ours is a demonstration farm where we have kind of like a stock of animals that we'll give out to the children when they graduate. Yeah. Yeah, so just to re-echo what I said at the beginning, we are all called to different things, but we are all called as children of God to the mission field. And your mission field, my mission field, everybody's mission field looks different. And it also has seasons. There are seasons when it looks a different way from another way. But one thing that I would like to encourage us all to always remember that we can trust God. He is faithful. He will equip us. He will take care of every need that we have. And He will help us. As long as we are doing it for His glory, He will always show up for us. Even when it seems impossible. I have seen situations where I thought, this is it. We can't go any further than this. And God in His amazing ways has created ways. So whatever it is that you're going through right now, or whatever your level of discouragement or encouragement is, just remember those words. And someone said, even the hairs on our heads are counted. He takes care of the birds in the flowers and all those things. How about you, His precious child? So I want to encourage you that as you journey on in this mission field, may you be energized to know that the one who has called you is faithful and able to do exceedingly abundantly above what you can ever ask or think. God bless you.